Godspeed.
Roper with Flick Freaks back again, doing another trailer reaction. This time it is for the second trailer for the Antman and the Wasp. Really looking forward to this. Kind of curious where they were at during all of the ongoings of Infinity Wars, obviously. Missing some folk in that, you know? Not a bunch, but Ant-Man and the Wasp, obviously. I'd like to see how that's going to tie back across. But the trailer we got here is 2 minutes 26 seconds. It is the second trailer because the first one came out a while back. I think I've seen that trailer. I think I've seen at least pieces of that trailer. I have not seen this one at all. And it came out 3 days ago, something like that. Been busy, had stuff going on, you know, life and things. But here we go. We're gonna check this one out, see what it's like.
So, how long have you been Ant-Man again?
Well, it just sort of happened.
I wish I could fight bad guys like you.
I seem to mess it up almost every time.
Maybe you just need someone watching your back. Hi. Like a partner.
Dr. Pym, I actually heard what happened to you. You opened up the quantum realm. That's when this crazy creepy ghost who walks through walls and stuff. Stole your tech. And now she wants to take over the world or whatever. Who would have believed that in your hour of need, you would turn to us?
Not me.
Because we robbed you. Do you remember? That's us.
The only chance we've got is both of you.
Ant-Man and the Wasp teaming up.
Follow my lead.
She seems more intense. No. You go low, I'll go high.
I have wings. Why would I go low?
We're gonna die. I don't want to die. We didn't die.
Hey, what'd I miss?
We were just tiny.
I was partners with Hank on a project called Goliath.
How big did you get?
My record, 21 feet. You?
65 feet.
65.
If you two are finished comparing sizes,
65.
I can't remember. I think Goliath is the one that dies in the comic book iteration of Civil War. And now I gotta know. And it's gonna create this white glare on my face here. I have to know. I'm pretty certain that Goliath is the one that dies in Civil War. I think. Bill Foster, Goliath, Civil War, Dr. Bill Foster, also known as Black Goliath, the second Ant-Man, second Giant Man, and the fourth Goliath. None of this helps me. I'm pretty certain it's him. I don't remember. I have the book. I have the book in the other room. I'll just go read it at another point in time. Anyway, page turner thing coming in my head there. And I'm probably way off. Anyway, so trailer looks fantastic. Love everything about what they've done with it. I like that they pulled deep cut characters. You know, like Goliath. You know, he's not really. I shouldn't call him a deep cut character. There's people that clearly will know more about him than what I do, obviously. But you know, when you start getting into some of these things, these type of movies, especially with what Marvel's been doing for the longest time now, they've been picking out, you know, kind of obscure villains. They've been picking out, you know, really fascinating characters. And one of my arguments for the longest time between, you know, DC and Marvel is that DC had they had kind of boring characters. Like, at their face value, what they are, who they are, is kind of boring. But they had really good storytelling. I mean, really great stories to be told. So you took these kind of like bland, blasé kind of characters, and because of really good storytelling, you came up with, you know, characters that everybody fell in love with. Marvel has really interesting characters, but didn't always have the best stories, which, you know, I feel like that's kind of a personal preference on my part of things, but I don't feel like I'm totally off base there. So with all of that being said, what you run into is now they're making movies, right? And so DC has kind of blasé characters, and not that they're like I said, Batman's highly fascinating. The Flash is very fascinating. You know, the Speed Forces, bananas, and you know, they have interesting things about them. But when you compare DC characters to Marvel characters are typically more interesting, in my opinion. And so what you run into is you get these kind of blasé characters, and I say again, I'm saying blasé, but it's not really that way. You get these characters, and then you add in bad storytelling as a result of movies that are being constructed, you know, weak story arcs and plot holes and things of that nature. And that's why they end up the way they do. And then you look at DC side of things, where you have interesting characters and they've got good storytelling that's going into it, and that's why they're able to take some, you know, B and C list characters, sometimes even further down the rung, and toss them into these stories, and they become really fascinating. And I'm all on board with that. You know, my kids, they want to go to the comic book store on a regular basis and check out stuff about comic book characters, and I'm on board with that. I've got an encyclopedia of, you know, Marvel characters sitting in the other room, and you know, as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm gonna go check out Goliath again, make sure I'm not talking totally out of my ass. I don't feel like I am, but I'm pretty certain it's Goliath. Like most of me is screaming that it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base, but I don't feel like I am. Anyhow, that's this trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp. Looks like it's not. First iteration of it was, you know, the first movie of Ant-Man was a heist movie. I mean, it's a Marvel heist movie. They're stealing a thing, right? And this, you know, some of the tech for Pym is a little questionable. Like they've got that scene where they're riding in the car and he's literally holding a building in his lap, but wouldn't it retain its mass? Isn't like its density? Isn't that kind of part of, I don't know, like the tank thing in the first movie where he's walking around with an actual factual tank on his keys, right? That some of that stuff needs to be worked out a little bit. I think there needs to be a little bit of explaining to kind of rationalize a little bit of that, but maybe I'm just looking into it too much. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next trailer. You guys have a good day. Bye.